The dance that changed everything. The evening air was cool and pleasant as Marcus Hayes stood at the edge of the wedding reception, watching the celebration unfold before him. The venue was beautiful, white lights strung across the outdoor pavilion, round tables covered in ivory cloth, and a dance floor where guests swayed to gentle music. Marcus held a glass of champagne he hadn't touched, his eyes occasionally drifting to the kids' table where his 7-year-old daughter, Emma, sat coloring with the other children. He hadn't wanted to come tonight. Weddings felt like reminders of everything he'd lost 3 years ago when his wife, Sarah, passed away after a long illness. But the groom was his college roommate, and Emma had been excited about wearing her new dress. So here he was, a reluctant guest, trying to smile at the right moments. Marcus adjusted his tie and glanced at his watch. Another hour, maybe 2, and he could politely excuse himself. Emma was having fun, and that was what mattered. These days, everything he did revolved around making sure his daughter was happy, even when his own heart felt heavy. "You look like you're planning an escape route," a warm voice said beside him. Marcus turned to find a woman standing there, holding her own glass of wine. She wore an elegant navy dress that somehow managed to look both professional and graceful. Her dark hair was swept up, and her eyes held an amused sparkle. "That obvious?" Marcus asked with a small smile. "Only to someone who was thinking the same thing 20 minutes ago," she replied. "I'm Victoria Chen, the bride's business associate," and apparently her way of networking even at her own wedding. Marcus chuckled softly. Marcus Hayes, old friend of the groom, and apparently his way of proving he still has friends outside of work. Victoria, laughter, genuine, unguarded sound that surprised him. "Well, at least we're both here against our better judgment. That's something." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the dancers. The band had shifted to something slower, and couples drifted onto the floor, wrapped in each other's arms. "Do you dance?" Victoria asked suddenly. Marcus felt his chest tighten. "I used to. Haven't in a long time." "Me neither," Victoria admitted. "I'm usually too busy running my company. Tonight was supposed to be a break from all that, but I've already checked my phone 12 times. She paused, seeming to make a decision. "What if we made a deal? One dance, no phones, no worries, no thinking about everything else. Just a people who forgot how to take a break, taking one." Marcus hesitated. His first instinct was to decline, to retreat back into the safe bubble he'd built around himself and Emma. But something in Victoria's expression, vulnerability beneath the confidence, made him pause. "I should warn you," he said quietly. "The last time I danced was at my own wedding. My wife passed away 3 years ago, and I haven't really felt like dancing since." Victoria's expression softened with understanding, not pity. "I'm sorry. That must have been incredibly hard." She was quiet for a moment, then added, "My fiancé left me 2 years ago. Said he couldn't handle being second to my career. I haven't danced since then either. Maybe we're both due." There was something honest in her words, something that made Marcus feel less alone in his grief. He looked across the pavilion to where Emma was laughing with the other children, her face bright with joy. Sarah would have wanted him to keep living, not just existing. "All right," Marcus said, setting down his glass. "One dance." Victoria smiled and took his hand. Her fingers were warm and steady as she led him to the dance floor. The band was playing an old classic, something slow and gentle that seemed to fit the mood perfectly at first. Marcus felt stiff and awkward, his hand resting lightly on Victoria's waist, uncertain. But she moved with an easy grace, that somehow made it easier for him to follow. Gradually, his shoulders relaxed, and he found himself actually swaying to the music. "You're better than you claimed," Victoria said softly. "So are you," Marcus replied. "For someone who doesn't take breaks, you're doing pretty well at taking one." "Maybe I needed the right partner," she said, and there was no flirtation in it, just simple honesty. They moved together in comfortable silence, and Marcus realized something surprising. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about his to-do list or Emma's schedule or the weight of responsibility that never seemed to lift. He was just here, in this moment, dancing with someone who understood what it felt like to carry heavy things. "My daughter's over there," Marcus said, nodding toward the kids' table. "Emma, she's the one in the blue dress with the butterfly clips." Victoria followed his gaze and smiled. "She's beautiful. She looks happy. That's all I want," Marcus said quietly. "For her to be happy. To have a childhood that isn't defined by loss." "You're a good father," Victoria said. "That's clear just from the way you look at her." The song began to fade, transitioning into something more upbeat. Marcus expected Victoria to step away, to return to the safety of the sidelines. Instead, she stayed where she was, looking up at him with those thoughtful eyes. "Thank you," she said, "for the dance, for the reminder that there's more to life than board meetings and profit margins." "Thank you," Marcus replied, "for the reminder that it's okay to take up space in the world again." Victoria reached into her small purse and pulled out a business card. "I know this might seem forward, but I'd like to see you again. Maybe coffee, or Emma might enjoy the Children's Museum. My company sponsors it, and I have passes I never use." She paused. No pressure, just an invitation from one person trying to figure out life to another. Marcus took the card, running his thumb over the embossed lettering. Victoria Chen, CEO, Chen Innovations. He looked back at Emma, who was now watching him with curious eyes, and saw her give him a little thumbs up. "I'd like that," he said, surprising himself with how much he meant it. Emma would too. As Victoria walked away, Marcus found himself smiling, really smiling for the first time in months. He returned to his spot at the edge of the celebration, but everything felt different now. The music seemed warmer, the lights brighter, and the future just a little less heavy. Emma ran up to him, her face flushed with excitement. "Daddy, you danced." "I did," Marcus said, scooping her up. "And you know what? I think we're going to be okay." "I know," Emma said simply, resting her head on his shoulder. "I've been telling you that forever." Marcus held his daughter close and looked out at the celebration, at all the people finding joy despite life's complications. Maybe healing didn't mean forgetting. Maybe it meant learning to dance again, one careful step at a time.